All right, everybody, it's your wingman here, Alan Warren, on the Hour of the Angry RVer. Glad you are with us. Now, the purpose of this hour is to help make you a smarter RV buyer. You know, when it comes to new RVs, especially you newbies, we want to help give you an edumacation, as they say. We want to help educate you to the not-so-pretty side of RVing that nobody else seems to be talking about on the radio or on shows that you will find on social media. We really do want to make you a smarter RVer, especially a smarter new RV consumer. So think of me as your RV wingman who will give it to you straight. Now, this hour we have a special guest who is, well, she is a wealth of information about every aspect of RVing. She's also the author of 20 books and a full-time RVer herself. Let's bring up Margo Armstrong. How you doing, Margo?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you, Alan?
Doing great. Thank you for being with us. I'm so glad you agreed to be on the show. I'm excited.
Well, it should be a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking about the RV world.
Well, I know you do. You write about it an awful lot. So I know you have some thoughts about RVs and quality issues and that kind of thing. We'll definitely get into that. But let's begin by you giving us a little bit of background, if you would, please, on Margo Armstrong, the RVer.
Well, I've been RVing. This is my 23rd year full-time. So I've been on the road quite a few years. I've forgotten what it's like to live in an actual house or apartment. But I started RVing because I used to be, actually I had a technical writing business, and I was traveling all the time, and I couldn't be with my family. So I just decided, hey, I'll just buy an RV. Now, that was early years, and there wasn't a lot going out there for people to full-time at that time. But I found a nice RV. I lucked out, actually. This is what happened there. And I just put my family on board, and off we went.
And you haven't missed living in a sticks and bricks home in 23 years?
Not for 1 second.
Wow. How do you look at RVing today, Margo, and RVers today versus the way you did maybe when you began? Or do you look at them all the same?
Oh, it's very different from the early days. For one thing, hardly anyone outside of myself, for instance, worked on the road then. It was fairly rare because in most cases, if they were working on the road, they just pulled into a park and parked there for a year or two or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in my case, I wanted to travel as well. So I never thought about just parking somewhere, just living in an RV. I wanted to travel. So that's what I did, and I went through all the things you could possibly imagine would happen to a person trying to communicate with email. I started out using one of those acoustical couplers to a payphone. That's how I used to send my email.
So why do you think so many young people today, particularly young people, are being drawn to RVing? Because, I mean, they're coming in droves, and part of it has to be because I think that they are able to work from the road, many of them. But what else do you think it is? Why are young people today just being attracted to this lifestyle?
Well, probably all the things that attracted me as well. The fact that you can have a new scenery every morning when you wake up if you want. And usually when you first start traveling, that's what happens. You bounce around quite a bit in the beginning. But it really gives you an independence that it just can't, I don't know, you can't get that in any other way that I've found. And I love to travel. I've traveled my entire life. So for me, it was just another means to the end for me. And I think that's probably true with a lot of young people as well. I wish I had started 20 years earlier, but it's a big attraction. And now that you can do everything online, it's a breeze.
Well, you know, I also think that, you know, technology's a huge part of it, but there seems to be, at least I get the sense that young people today, they're not as materialistic maybe. They're looking for adventures and experiences more than the $400,000, $500,000 home and homeowner association dues that anchors them. They can't afford to do anything else. They're looking to spend less money on those things to acquire more experiences and memories. Does that make sense?
I think it depends on what age bracket you're talking about. Because there's several different brackets, what they call the millennia group, and then you've got the me group, I guess is what they call those in the 30s and early 40s. It just depends on what age group. The younger people who used to go traveling in Europe, for instance, backpacking and so forth, that used to be the thing to do when I was that age. If you could afford it in any way you possibly could, you grabbed your backpack and you traveled Europe. Now they travel the United States in an RV or a trailer or R-pod or a lot of different things. So they're just, instead of going abroad now, they're traveling this beautiful country, which is, a wonderful thing to do. Then as you get into the older group, those are the ones that realize they're never going anywhere in life in the corporate world. It's just, work, 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 go home, sleep, go to work.
Repeat, yeah.
Exactly. And so they found that they have an option now with the RV, and that's what is so heartbreaking about what's going on now, is that it's a romance for a lot of people. And it's terrible to be out on your maiden voyage and wind up in the repair shop.
Well, and that's where we're going to go in the next several segments. I want to talk about the quality of RVs today versus maybe 10 or 15 or more years ago, because I hear some, as you probably do, horror stories. But before we get there, what are your thoughts on the realities of RV living versus the dream, the fantasy? Oh, it's going to be great. Every day is going to be just wonderful. Ice cream and lollipops. What are the realities of RVing? If somebody's on the fence or thinking about doing it, what do they need to know before they take the plunge?
Well, on my website, I have a link to a test that people can take that lists you supposed to answer this multiple choice. And at the end, it tells you whether you'll probably be successful in the RVing world or not. And a lot of it has to do with how do you deal with loneliness. Because I just finished actually working with an author who asked me to assist him doing this big article, and he gave me this line about, I just see myself rolling into an RV park, people there waiting to greet me and making sure I have a good time, and and that's the life of an RVer in his eyes. Of course, he's never owned an RV, never been on the road. So he didn't realize, as I explained to him, that the only way you can do that, have a life like that, is to pull into a park and stay there. Because you have to build friends. They don't, you can and do often, as happens to me quite often, is you pull in, and as you're trying to get hooked up, your neighbor's coming over and starting a discussion. But as a general rule, it's, pretty much up to you on that part. But you don't make a lot of friends unless you stick in one place for a while.
Yeah,
so if you like to travel and see a lot of things, you're not going to be making all these friends that people think you're going to have.
Yeah, it does take more than one night to form a friendship, a lasting one anyway. And they can take that test on your website, rvlifestyleexperts.com?
Right.
That's awesome.
It's right on the home page. And it's very illuminating. I didn't create that. I have a link to someone else's site who made that up. And the whole point being that you need to be prepared for a lifestyle that is full of change. And depending on the personality, some people are very adaptable to change. I am, for instance. But, it's difficult for some people to make the changes, and they get irritated when they have to change something in their routine, or they can't proceed down the path they thought they were going on. So it can be difficult for some, and that's why I posted that test, because I would like the people who shouldn't be on the road to understand that that's the case, and maybe they won't make that decision.
All right, Margo, hang on. We got to jump for a break. We're going to get cut off in a few seconds. We've got Margo Armstrong from RV Lifestyle Experts RVers.com on with us. We're going to be talking about the quality of new RVs coming out of the factories right after this.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, Alan Warren, your RV and Wingman here with our friend Margo Armstrong from RVLifestyleExperts.com, and we're yakking about new RVs. We're going to start yakking about new RVs and some of the ugly parts about new RVs that are getting cranked out of the factories. Margo, from my perspective, the problem of poor quality and even poorer after the sale service seems to be coming to a boiling point. How did we get where are we now, and how did we get here with so many angry people that have bought these new RVs?
Well, I wish there was a simple answer to that, but there's a lot of things that came into play. One of the things that we don't hear discussed very often is what part do the components manufacturers play in this current situation we have. And that's something that is kind of like a hidden factor. I guess no one really wants to get on the wrong side of Lippert, but these component people who are the ones that sell all these things to RV manufacturers, if they don't provide quality components, then the manufacturer's kind of stuck with it, and then they have to pay the price later on down the road.
So unlike General Motors maybe or Ford that manufactures most of they sub out some things, but not everything, RV manufacturers sub out just about everything. I mean, you've got, appliances and windows and doors and all the different components come from different vendors, and it's sort of like putting together a jigsaw puzzle and hoping it all fits.
Exactly, that's true, and they don't know if it works when they put it into place in an RV, unless, of course, they do their own quality control. And today, it seems like there isn't near enough time for that to happen. So they send off these RVs off the lot a lot of times with actual broken parts, and it's dangerous.
Now you wrote, actually, the way you and I got connected, Margo, was you wrote a blog about this, a beautiful story that articulated what we're talking about right now. And you're not ugly about the way you said it, but you just said things the way they are. What was the response to that blog?
Well,
I guess if you were in the industry didn't like it so much, did they?
Well, actually, I don't have really much of a way of knowing that. I don't have my comments working because I don't have time to deal with all the trolls.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone does, they can, of course, write to me directly because my email address is available on the website, on the blog, and they can do that, and some people do. But I've gotten nothing but praise from the ones that have written to me directly.
Are most of the letters of praise and encouragement, are they from people who have already had those negative experiences, or they're praising you because you saved them from making a bad decision to begin with? Or can you tell?
Well, I've actually had both types. Some of them do just want to talk to me about it, but most of them are really just saying, glad to see that you're actually giving us the kind of information we need to make a choice. So it's been both sides, and so far I have not been come down on by any of the component manufacturers or any of the RV manufacturers themselves or dealers. But I get along with them pretty well in the sense that I just try to be as upfront as I can about it without, I don't get angry or strike out or anything like that. I just simply lay out the facts as I know them.
Well, and that's what I like so much. I've while you and I have just recently connected, I've read some things on your website. It looks like you're not just paid by the RV industry to say all kinds of nice things, like I say ice cream and popsicles, but you say factual things that it's meaty. It's kind of like Chuck Woodbury's RVtravel.com. It's really got some meat to it that smart RVers appreciate.
Well, I hope so. Of course, I don't take ads on my blog, except for my own books, of course. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I don't take ads. So I'm not at risk. And that gives me the freedom to say whatever I think. That's part of it.
Talk to us about factory recalls. It seems like to me there are a lot of factory recalls nowadays when it comes to RVs and their different components. What are your thoughts about factory recalls?
Well, they've gotten worse every year, but the whole point about the availability of looking at recalls now, which of course we've had access for quite a few years, but just now the National Transportation Safety and Highway, that's a mouthful, they have put into their database going all the way back to the 1990s. So you can go back to if you're looking for used ones or even brand new ones, they will have on there if you put in your VIN number particularly, you'll be able to see if there have been recalls. And that's really important these days, strangely enough. You have to do that even with brand new ones.
Now, I've heard, I'm not sure if it's true or not, maybe you know the answer, that the recall information is submitted by the manufacturer. Is that true? Because if it's true, it would seem like to me the manufacturer, well, they don't want to, unless they really have to mention something's bad, they kind of like to, look the other way and hope that nobody else is going to bring up the same issue. How are those recalls, how do they find out about them?
Well, that's true. The National Highway Transportation Safety Association, better known as NHTSA.gov, for those of you who want to check that out, they will be fined, these manufacturers will be fined if they do not report the recall. So they have to think about that aspect as well before they decide to maybe hold back. But you can tell by looking at the recalls that are available, and Chuck at RV Travel does a really nice job of posting those recalls every issue that he puts them out. So you can look at them and see that they're pretty. I think they're pretty accurate, because otherwise there wouldn't be the 15 or 20 recalls from, say, Forest River, for instance. Or Jayco, or some of those brands really have a lot of really dangerous recalls, and those would not be on there if they had a choice.
Absolutely. Well, there's so much information people need. That's why I try to find people here on the show to interview like you, like Chuck Woodbury, that are solid, dependable. You just say the truth. You're not. You don't get paid from the industry. You do it because it's a labor of love and you enjoy it. So when we come back from the next break, I would like you to help us. What do we need to know about when we're looking at new RVs in terms of buying them and things we need to consider before we sign on the dotted line? Can we do that?
Sure, I'd be happy to help you with whatever experiences I have that will help.
Well, all right, folks. Her name is Margo Armstrong, and if you check her out, it's RVlifestyleexperts.com is her website. She is a virtual walking, talking Google search engine with everything to do about RVs and the RV lifestyle, and she is on with us for the next couple of segments. When we come back, we're going to talk about new RVs and what especially newbies and buyers of new RVs need to know about. If you'd like to talk with Margo, you got a question or a comment, either post it here on our live stream, we can get to it, or call us 855-296-7469. Again, 855-296-7469. I'm Alan Warren, your wingman. I'll be right back.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
As your RVing wingman, I promise to do my best to help you avoid some of the pitfalls that can come with RVing and RV ownership. And helping me keep that promise is this hour's guest. Her name is Margo Armstrong from RVlifestyleexperts.com. And Margo, tell us, what kind of advice do you have if I'm a newbie or I'm looking at buying a new RV? What do I need to know before I even go and start shopping?
Well, that's a big answer.
Oh, come on. It'll only take you about 20 seconds, right? No, there is a lot, isn't there? The bottom line is there's a lot to know before you go shopping.
Well, you can't know until you start looking around. So I suggest that you go to some of the more popular online sites like RVT.com or RVtrader.com and just browse through. If it's a motorhome you're looking for or a fifth wheel or a trailer, just browse through what they have until you find one that looks kind of fits your style and price. Then you go immediately from there to check with NADA.com, which is the Dealers Association that has all the current pricing. Then you can find out just about where you would be if you want to buy a new one or if you want to buy a used one. It'll put you in the bracket, so to speak, so you kind of know when you see an ad whether it's going to, whether it's a rip-off or whether it's kind of in the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to try to find that one or two or three. I suggest try to find three to start with because you may have to, adjust. So you try to find one of those at least on a local RV lot so you can take a tour. Or if you're planning on actually buying new, then you want to go to probably one of the RV shows. Do not buy there, but just take the tour. Then the next move is if you want to buy a used one, try to buy it from an owner. If not, of course, you'll have to deal with, a dealer's lot. Then when you get that far, the next thing you want to do is if you find one on a lot, let's say, you want to call and get an RV inspector to come out and take a look. Now, that's going to take about 2 or 3 hours. So
even a new RV, Margo, right? Even a new one.
Even a new one. That's particularly a new one because of all the problems that we've all heard about, is that you can't trust anyone these days. So even if you buy a brand new one, do not buy it or, sign on the dotted line until you have at least a mobile RV repair person check it out for you. So that's going to cost you a few $100s because it's going to take like about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to my website and download a checklist so you can have it with you in case you can't find a certified inspector. And I think you probably know about the certified inspector site. You could probably put that on your website for people. There is an association now that trains and certifies RV inspectors.
Right.
We've only had them for about 2 years, so they're available. Then after you get that done, then you want to go over very carefully everything in the paperwork. So do not pay attention to what the dealer tells you. You want to pay attention to what's on paper. And if you're wise, you will, in fact, pass on most of the extra warranties and things like that they're trying to sell you.
What are your thoughts, Margo? Let me jump in here real quick. We got about a minute and a half till we go to the next break. This is a short segment, but what are your thoughts on maybe having a lawyer review the paperwork before signing? Spending an hour with a lawyer saying you don't need that, don't do this. Is that an idea? I mean, a good idea?
It's probably one you can't accomplish, though, because you don't. Any lawyer will be able to tell you about the legal part, but they won't be able to tell you about the RV part. So unless they have an RV themselves or have purchased an RV or know something about the industry, they probably won't be able to help you very much because they won't be able to read it properly for you particularly. So I don't know it's great if you can get that. If you have a good friend that's a lawyer that has an RV, that's perfect.
I'm thinking about a lemon law lawyer, somebody that's, been to the rodeo once or twice.
Yes, a lemon law lawyer would be good. That would be excellent. And I'm sure there are probably more around now than there were last year.
Sadly, we have one on here every couple of weeks, and I think business is really good for these lemon law lawyers when it comes to these new RVs that are having problems.
I agree with you. And if we have time in the next segment, I'd like to talk a little bit about the warranty thing to give people a little bit of an idea what to look for so that they have some idea of what's out there warranty-wise, because that's where people wind up spending, I'm talking about tens of thousands of dollars.
And it's unnecessary. All right, Margo, we got to jump for this really quick break. We'll be right back, folks, with Margo Armstrong from RVlifestyleexperts.com. This is the RV Show USA. I'm your wingman, Alan Warren. Be right back. As your wingman, you know, we talk about the good and the not so good parts of RVing here on the show. And while the good really is way better than the bad, there are some things we talk about that most RV dealers wish we would just go, shh, don't talk about that. But there's one RV dealer, a new RV dealer, that isn't afraid of what we talk about here on the show. They actually like what we're talking about, the good and the bad. I'm so proud to be able to tell you about them as our newest show sponsor. They are in Iowa. I know, Iowa. Yep, Iowa, in the heartland of our country, where some of the greatest people that I know of in the RV business have a place called Cheyenne Camping Center. They're family-owned, been around 50-plus years, 3 brothers, 50 employees. I'm telling you, there is a spirit there at Cheyenne. It is a feeling that you will get that you'll not find at any other new RV dealer I've ever been to. They are low-key, they're down-to-earth, approachable, honest, and they're men and women of integrity. In this business, I am so proud to do business with them. They're always one of the top dealers in the country, and the pricing that they advertise is the price that you pay. Don't go in there and go, well, now I can start beating them up. They can take $1,000 or $2,000. It ain't going to happen. The price is the price. They don't do any add-ons, no hidden fees. They are truly unbelievable. Why buy from Cheyenne? Well, they prep every RV, not once. They prep it twice. They do a minimum PDI of an hour and a half, and they'll take as long as you want to. You want to take all day walking through? They will take all day, I promise you. You ask them what time it is, they'll tell you how to build a watch. So anyway, from San Antonio, from this studio where I'm sitting, it is 1,154 miles from here to Cheyenne. And as I say, I'd walk over broken glass to buy a brand new RV travel trailer or fifth wheel from them before I buy one from anybody else. They are that good. They really are. They can help you with financing. They will not make you upside down on your loan like a lot of these new RV dealers will. They will give you the right financing. They'll tell you when you want to trade in, you won't have to take a pile of money to do the trade-in. Again, if you see an advertisement, they have that RV on the lot. It's not like, oh, well, we just sold that one yesterday. They have that one there if they have it advertised. They have the saying there at Cheyenne Camping Center that they only want the smart buyers. Actually, they want all the buyers they can, but they know that the smart ones will come to Cheyenne because of no bull. They are the antidote for Camping World tactics. Check them out at CheyenneCampingCenter.com. All right, coming back in 30.
And Cheyenne Camping Center has the top rating on eBay.
On eBay. They got 1,300 perfect ratings on eBay. 1,300. Perfect. You cannot do better than that. They are as good as gold. Check them out for a new travel trailer or fifth wheel, CheyenneCampingCenter.com. Tell them your wingman sent you, all right?
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, it's your RV and wingman, Alan Warren here, the hour of the angry RVer. Now, this part of our show is not to bash the RV industry. It is to help educate consumers to the sometimes harsh and too often very expensive, ugly side of RVing and the RV lifestyle. We do it to help level the playing field between the manufacturers and dealers and the consumers. Now, to help educate us this week, make us a whole lot smarter, we've got Margo Armstrong on our guest line. She's a full-time RVer. She's written tons and tons of books, and she's just smart about all kinds of things. She's got a website, RVlifestyleexperts.com. And Margo, where did we leave off? You were going to start talking about warranties, I think, on new RVs.
Exactly, because this is the area where people get really confused because we're down to the wire here with the dealer if you're talking new or even used if it's like under 5 years old or so. So now they start talking warranty coverage. And very few people know anything about what it's supposed to be. So I thought I would just throw out there a little bit about that. So you'll at least have some basic knowledge. So there are really two types of warranty coverage policies that are worth buying.
Okay.
One type is called the exclusionary policy that specifically states what they do not cover. Then everything else is covered. Now, I admit this is going to be expensive. The other one is called the listed component coverage, and it states only that certain items are covered. So, for instance, if you have some maintenance skills and you just want to have coverage on certain areas of the RV, like the chassis, for instance, in case it turns out there's bends or brakes or axles and so forth like that. So you can save quite a bit by getting coverage that just for those areas that you're not skilled in fixing. Those are really the only two that I can say that are well worthwhile. So most of the warranties sold by dealers are all in kind of a gray area. Not everything is clearly defined, so as a result, you only find out when you actually try to collect. So I have some personal experience in that area. So I can tell you that some of these warranties are extremely expensive, and then when it comes to time to collect on it, they have some reason why it's void. So keep that in mind and be sure, and this would be where a lemon lawyer would really come in handy, because he could take a look at the warranty for you. But, you know, it's very hard to get out of a dealer's lot with paperwork in hand that isn't signed. So they make it very difficult for you. So a lot of times you just have to be very brave and just say, well, if I can't take it with me to have somebody else look at it, then I don't want to buy the units or something along that line. Because a lot of times they don't want to let any of that information out. They just want you to do it now because they know if you walk away, you may not come back.
Yeah, but they treat you so nice before the sale and after the... No, wait. Before the sale, but not so much after the sale.
There you go. Yeah, after the sale, it's whatever they can slip out of, they will do so. And that's not true, of course, with all dealers. I mean, I have to be fair. There are some that take great pride in their reputation of handling anything that might go wrong when you buy an RV from them. There are others who simply will not even talk to you if you do not buy your RV from them. So if you're in a place where you need service, for instance, you may be in big trouble because a lot of the dealers won't even take your rig in. So you may have to find an actual RV repair place if you need to get something done in a hurry. Then, of course, you're going to avoid your warranty. So there you go. So it's really a difficult area. So you can always buy a warranty. So there's no rush. In other words, you don't have to, they'll tell you that there's a big discount on it if you buy it now. You don't have to do that. You can sit back and think about it and then go to some place that is reputable, perhaps, because that's the most important thing about warranties, is that you're looking for a contract issuer that has a reputable history, an honest approach, and good reviews. And this takes time to find one of these. So just pass on the warranties and take them out later when you have time to research it all.
But you know, Margo, so many people, and it's so easy to fall in love when you're looking at a brand new RV. They smell good, they feel good, and you can fantasize about your family having a great time, and your brain just shuts off, and you just can't imagine that you're the one that's going to be getting a lemon, for example. You can't even imagine that somebody would sell you something that may cost $5,000 or $7,000 or $10,000 that you don't need, but it happens all the time, doesn't it?
And here I might point this out. If an RV has been sitting on a lot for several years and not sold, for instance, or if they take a trade-in that looks brand new because there's something really, really wrong with it, they will sell it to you. They have no conscience about selling you something that may kill you on the road. I'm not sugarcoating this, but they will do it. So that's why that inspection is extremely important.
I'm wondering something, and in our closing minutes, do you think that any of the big four, the Winnebagos, the Thor, the Forest River, the Rev Group, do you think any of those in this industry have the cojones to stand up and go, you know what? We need to do a better job. We are going to take ownership, and we're going to be the leader, and it's going to take a while, but we're going to build the best RVs on the market. We're going to take care of people with the best service possible. And I really believe if one of them would step up and really mean it, that they would be celebrated and they would realize greater sales than ever before. But if they don't, the industry is just going to implode when people, too many of them, have too many bad experiences. They go, you know what, we're going to find something else to do with our money. We're not going to buy another RV.
Well, what it's going to take is, of course, the German imports. It's what's going to make a change here. And they're already here. And so when that happens, then they'll, start making a change for them. So just like the auto industry did.
All right, listen, we got less than a minute to go. How do people learn more and keep up with you, Margo?
Well, my blog, it's only a monthly blog, but it's movingonwithmargo.com. And my website has hundreds of pages. Any question that you might have about just about any part of the RV industry, you can find an answer to it on my website, rvlifestyleexperts.com.
Well, I am so glad that you spent some time with us. Hope you had a good time, that we can catch up again soon, okay?
I would love to be on again, Alan. Thanks so much.
All right, you take care. Folks, Margo Armstrong, check her out. She's an amazing wealth of information, as you can tell. RVlifestyleexperts.com. We'll wrap it up right after this.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, so I want to close out today's show by talking about old people with gray hair and wrinkles and folks with a lot of miles on them, and how, in my view, our culture, for the most part, disses them, and I think that's kind of sad. Everything from actors and entertainers and athletes to clothing models. Hey, we even got young kids pretending to be these great doctors on TV. How realistic is that? And when you do see an old person in a TV show, they're cast into some character that's past their prime, and they're just kind of not with it. And to me, that's sad. It sends a silent message that old people are really not needed anymore. For any listeners who grew up back in the 50s or 60s, even early 70s, back then, old people were looked up to. Remember that? They were respected. When a youngster got into a jam, his or her parents or grandparents, they kind of helped guide them through. Not today. And that is too bad, I think. Why? Well, today's old people have something. They have something that young people don't have. And young people cannot buy it for any amount of money. When I'm around RVers, those who've had RVs before or they've been RVing for a long time, I realize that those gray hairs, those wrinkles have been earned. Through the years, through the decades, the events those old folks have been through, they've been presented with some powerful realizations about life. And for many, those bumps in the road of life, those ones that were scary, maybe expensive, maybe emotionally painful, were all learning experiences. So what's that got to do with RVs and RVers? With all the YouTube videos out there, with all the social media people posting on Facebook about how excited they are with their new RV, and all that's great, most of those videos and Facebook posts are made by young people, pretty people. Not too much gray hair, not very many wrinkles, but also not as many life experiences as us old birds have. Again, what's gray hair, wrinkles, and old people got to do with RVing? I think plenty. And smart young people can, I think, and they should, take advantage of us. We old folks have made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of mistakes when it comes to not just RVs, but to borrowing money and making some occasionally stupendously bad decisions. And we got the wrinkles and gray hairs to prove it. If you're relatively new to RVing, I strongly recommend that you not only listen to the young and the excited RVers all over YouTube, but that you listen to the old folks too. They're the ones that will tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. You see, us old folks, well, we used to be smart too. The older we got, the more we realized that we weren't acting very smart at certain times in our life, but we didn't even know it. You new RV buyers can avoid many mistakes if you will truly listen to the folks who have been there and done that. Folks like Margo Armstrong, our guest this hour, Chuck Woodbury, my friend from RVtravel.com, our many group members that share their RV horror stories on Facebook. We try and give you the true picture of what RVing can be like, the good and the not so good. Thanks to each one of you for being with us. I hope you'll tell your friends about us and invite them to join us next week. Until then, this is your wingman, Alan Warren, and the way we spell love, well, it's T-I-M-E. We spend that time making memories with family and friends and getting some gray hairs along the way, enjoying the RV lifestyle. So long, everybody.
The RV Show USA. Start living.